On the Gridiron, presented to you by Lonestar Steakhouse and Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL.
We are now in double digits for the NFL season. Hop a day, everybody. Jason Salas, Nicolas, and Dave Delgado. Andy Wheeler coming up with your fantasy tips, and we are on the Gridiron here at Lonestar Steakhouse, as we always are. Mooning, very, very happy to be here. Guys, there is a big game coming up on KUAM TV 11. The Browns at the Steelers, Dave, but this isn't exactly the easy pick that everybody would think because Big Ben's out, Le'Veon Bell's out. How are the Steelers going to pull this one off?
Well, they have D'Angelo Williams, the running back. He's producing for them. I think defensively, the Steelers are going to stand their ground. It's hard to beat Pittsburgh at home. Their fans are just too energized there. Cleveland, a lot of controversy at the quarterback position. Is McCown going to start? Is Johnny Manziel going to start?
Johnny Football.
Yeah.
Stay with him.
Well, I just think Pittsburgh has enough firepower. Despite the injuries, like you said, Roethlisberger's still questionable. But if he does play, I think hands down the Steelers are going to win. This might be a close game, but I still have Pittsburgh in the win.
Joe Hayden, too, the Pro Bowl cornerback for Cleveland, hasn't had exactly a healthy season, so we'll see how that pans out. Okay, Ken, we've seen our online users. A lot of people go with logic because they want to be on the top of our leaderboard, but Steelers fans are truly hardcore. The terrible towel, even though it's a piece of paper, that was a horrendous impersonation right there. So did people go with their brain, or did they go with their heart?
Well, 90% went with the Steelers.
Wow.
But at this point in the season, we're halfway through the competition in terms of the games for the online contest. So this might be one of the games where you go against the grain and pick someone like the Browns, because they're very capable of winning this game. So
Heinz Field, also a very, very tough place to battle. All right, guys, we have some amazing food. Once again, our friends at Lone Star here hooking us up in the best possible way by giving us food. Ken, we've got those wonderful appetizers right there. What's that?
Definitely. That's potato skins right there.
Oh, man.
It's looking pretty good.
And Dave, I know you love a good steak, and what we're looking at right now, it's a combination. We've got surf and turf. We've got the mesquite steak and shrimp. That steak is USDA choice beef, the very best kind of, cuts amazing. You got a potato right there, and the shrimp is actually basted in our special mesquite sauce, so that's a complete meal.
Yeah, you can't turn down steak and shrimp, man. That's all day.
All right, so you're going to get that. Ken's going to be on the potato skins, and of course, they're going to leave me with the bread, which I've got no problem with because the bread is absolutely out of this world here. All right, guys, another game that is going to be big. The Broncos were supposed to have Peyton Manning break all sorts of records last week, Dave, at Lucas Oil Field in Indy. It did not happen. They're at home this week against the Chiefs. Who do you got?
Well, after coming off a loss, I think Denver's defense is going to be rejuvenated. I know losing that game really hurt them. I think Peyton Manning is going to have a better game this time around. The Chiefs are no slouch either, but I think just when you match up personnel with the Broncos offensively, they just have too many weapons at the receiver position. The running game's doing okay, a lot better now. So I think Peyton and the Broncos get the job done. Another home turf to beat a team at, it's definitely hard to beat Denver at home.
Mile high.
Yeah.
Very, very tough up there. And the loss of Jamal Charles, of course, for KC, still feeling the impacts of that. Ken, I'm just going to assume that the Chiefs got a lot of love from our online community for this one, right?
Well, unfortunately, 95% of those of you playing at home chose the Broncos. So, yeah.
5%. That's not a lot of love at all. I am 0 for 2 here. Go on the leaderboard and see how far down I am with my picks, and you can see why you should not trust me for football savvy. All right, guys, the big game, Sunday Night Football on TV8. David, is the Cardinals traveling up to the Great Northwest to take on the Seahawks. This is a very compelling match.
Well, we're going to stay with the theme and home field advantage. Seattle, definitely one of the hardest stadiums to play in. You have the 12th man, the crowd getting into it. It really dictates the flow of the game when offensive players can't hear the play call and get the signals down. Arizona's a tough team. If Palmer can't get the job done, I think that it's going to be a close game, but I still have the Seahawks winning that. I just think it's just you take it, the defense and the crowd. Seahawks barely get out of this one, but they get the win.
Carson Palmer, Big Red, maybe a little bit of a dark horse candidate for MVP of this season. Ken, what was the split on this game?
52% went with Arizona, but this is a close game. It is in Seattle, so I think either pick is a good choice.
All right, as far as your fantasy tips go, here is Mr. Fantasy himself, Andy Wheeler, with who you need to start and who you need to sit.
All right, thanks, Jason. I almost didn't hear you from way up here on top of the Pick'ems standings, you experts have your little thing over here. I've got my own chow here. We're talking fantasy points here and fantasy football. Now, a few things. Obviously, you may have seen the news that the Packers have opted to go with James Starks as their number 1 running back and put Eddie Lacy back to number 2. So that may affect your standings. If you had Lacy as your running back, you might want to think about picking up James Starks. Now, Lacy's still going to get some carries, but he's not going to be the workhorse that they've used him, obviously, this part of the season. They're looking to switch things up because the offense stuttering a little bit. So Starks, if he's available, might want to grab him just for a few points here and there. Also, Jeremy Langford stepping in for Matt Forte, the injured Matt Forte last week. Had a really good week, put up some good points, and look for them to utilize him quite a bit more this week. And also looking at defense. If you're in an IDP league, you're going to want to look at Von Miller. He hasn't put up a whole lot of points, but they are playing the Chiefs this week. And, of course, the Chiefs have given up the 3rd most sacks allowed in the league this week. So Von Miller, not normally a huge guy points-wise in the IDP leagues, but he is looking to have a good one this year, especially after their performance last week. I think the Broncos defense, a little perturbed. Now, they are without Talib, so if you did have him in your league, obviously you're going to want to sit him for this game because of his suspension. So things are starting to really shape up now. There's a lot of trades going on. I know things are shifting quite a bit. But you know what? You just keep looking online and you keep it right here. We're going to give you all the information that you need to be fantasy champions. And, of course, I know I'm not on the Pick'ems panel, but I'm looking to be the champion of that as well. So thanks a lot. On the Gridiron, presented to you by Lonestar Steakhouse and Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL.